There is something that happens when you turn off the last light in the house. Most people do not think about it consciously. You reach for the switch, the room goes dark, and for just a moment, something in your chest shifts. Not panic, not dread exactly, just a faint, quiet alertness, like your body is paying slightly more attention than it was a second ago. You probably ignore it. You walk to your bed, you lie down, and within a few minutes it is gone. But that small flicker of something, that momentary sharpening of the senses, is ancient. It has been inside you far longer than you have been alive. The question this episode is sitting with is a simple one on the surface. Why were ancient humans afraid of the dark? But the real answer is not really about darkness at all. It is about what darkness meant, what it cost to survive it, and why that old cost still lives quietly inside the people you know today, including you. Because the fear did not disappear, it just went underground. Let us start at the beginning. For almost the entire stretch of human existence, which is a much longer stretch than most of us fully appreciate, there was no artificial light, no street lamps, no phone screens, no glow from a neighbor's window. When the sun went down, the world became genuinely, completely dark. Not the partial dark of a city bedroom with light bleeding under the door, total dark. The kind where you hold your hand in front of your face and see nothing at all. And in that darkness lived real things. Predators that were better equipped for the night than humans were. Cats, leopards, hyenas, things with eyes that gathered light in ways human eyes could not. Animals that hunted by sound and smell rather than sight, which gave them a significant advantage the moment the sun disappeared. A human being standing alone in the dark at night was genuinely, measurably more likely to die than a human being standing in daylight. This was not superstition, it was fact. The dark was not equally dangerous as the light. It was more dangerous, and the nervous system registered that clearly. What this means for your biology is important. The individuals who survived were, over tens of thousands of years, increasingly the ones who responded to darkness with heightened awareness, the ones who felt that faint alert when the light changed, the ones whose heart rate increased slightly, whose breathing went a little shallower, whose attention narrowed to the immediate environment. Those responses helped people survive long enough to have children who inherited the same tendency, and their children did too, and so on down through every generation until you. So that small flicker you feel in a dark room is not irrational. It is the inheritance of every ancestor you had who lived long enough to pass something on to you. It is, in a strange and humbling way, the reason you exist. But here's the part worth sitting with a little longer, because this is where it gets genuinely interesting. The fear of dark was never purely about physical danger. Even in the earliest human communities, darkness carried a second kind of weight, a psychological and social one. Daytime was the time of shared vision. You could see the faces of the people around you, read their expressions, confirm who was where and whether they were safe. Darkness removed all of that. It made the social world suddenly uncertain. You could not check whether the person nearby was calm or frightened or looking at you with kindness or not. The darkness did not just hide predators, it hid information. And to a species that depended enormously on social information to survive, that was its own kind of threat. There is good evidence in anthropology that early humans grouped together more tightly at night, that fire was valued not only for warmth, but for the small sphere of visibility it created. The fire did not light the whole world, but it lit the faces of the people you trusted. It let you read the group. It let you confirm that the people closest to you were present and okay. And in that confirmation was something that functioned very much like emotional safety. So when you think about darkness fear, you are thinking about two things woven together: the physical fear of what might come out of the dark, and the social fear of losing the ability to read the world around you. Both of those fears had real consequences. Both of them shape the nervous system you carry today. This is why darkness, even in completely safe modern environments, can make some people feel vaguely unsettled in ways they cannot quite name. It is not that they believe a predator is nearby. The thinking mind knows better. But the older, more instinctive layer of the nervous system does not receive information from the thinking mind the way we might hope. It responds to conditions, not reassurances. And the condition of darkness still carries the old signal. Something in the body says, pay attention. Something says, stay alert. And that voice does not wait to be asked. You can see this in children quite clearly. A child who is perfectly calm in a lit room will often become anxious in a dark one, even when nothing in their actual environment has changed except the light. Parents sometimes interpret this as irrationality, something to be talked through quickly and solved. But it is not irrational at all. It is an entirely appropriate response given what darkness historically meant. The child is doing exactly what their nervous system was built to do. The reassuring thing to understand as an adult is that this same child will, over time, learn through repeated safe experience that darkness in their particular context does not mean danger. The nervous system updates. It just does it slowly and through experience rather than explanation. Adults carry versions of this too, even if we rarely name them. Many people find it harder to fall asleep than they would expect, given how tired they are. Part of this is simply the mechanics of sleep, but part of it is the psychological weight of moving from wakefulness into unconsciousness in the dark. You are, in a sense, making yourself temporarily helpless in a condition that your older instincts flag as requiring alertness. The fact that most people manage this without much trouble is itself a kind of testament to how powerfully routine and safety can train the nervous system over time. But the effort is real, even when it is small. And there is something else worth naming here. The fear of the dark was also an ancient human experience connected to a fear of the unknown more broadly. Darkness was the time when explanations ran out. Things that happened in the dark, sounds in the night, strange lights, unexpected events, could not be observed and examined and understood. Ancient humans did what humans always do when understanding runs out. They filled the gap with story, with spirits, with omens, with narratives that gave shape to things that otherwise had no shape. This is not primitive thinking. This is the same fundamental human mechanism that still runs today whenever we encounter something we cannot explain or control. The mind moves toward a story because a story, even an uncomfortable one, is more tolerable than pure uncertainty. That is worth carrying with you the next time you find yourself in a moment of unexplained anxiety. The instinct to reach for a narrative, to construct a reason why you feel what you feel, is not weakness. It is a very old form of coping. The question is just whether the story you are telling yourself is accurate, or whether it is the dark playing tricks. The gentle shift that comes out of all of this is not about fixing anything. There is nothing here that needs fixing. It is more about recognition. The next time you notice that quiet alertness in a dark room, or the faint reluctance to move through an unlit space, or the way your sleep takes a few minutes longer than logic would seem to require, you do not have to treat it as a flaw. You can recognize it as something inherited, as information from a very long chain of people who paid careful attention to exactly those signals and survived because of it. There is something almost touching about that, if you let yourself see it that way. Your discomfort in the dark is not weakness, it is ancestry. And if you carry a version of this that feels heavier than a flicker, something that genuinely limits your day or your rest, it is worth saying gently that what is here is general insight into human patterns, not a substitute for real support from someone who knows you properly. But for most people, the invitation is simply to be a little more patient with themselves in the moments when the old signals fire. The nervous system is doing its job. It has been doing its job for a very long time. You do not have to argue with it. You can just notice it, name it quietly to yourself, and let it know, in whatever way feels true, that tonight you are safe. There is something quietly extraordinary about being a modern human. You carry the accumulated responses of thousands of generations of people who navigated genuinely dangerous nights and found their way to morning. Every time you turn out the light, something in you remembers that. Not loudly, not dramatically, just that small, careful flicker, the one that has always been paying attention even when you were not. If something in this felt true to you, the channel publishes a new episode every day. There is a subscribe button somewhere nearby. No pressure, just an open door if you want to keep exploring.